Acceptance. Acceptance section 2 under clause B. Section 2 clause B. Section 2 clause B define acceptance as follow. When the person to whom the proposal is made signifying this assent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted. Proposal is said to be when the person to whom the proposal is made signifying this assent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted. The proposal is said to be accepted. Full stop. A proposal, when accepted, become a promise. Thus, acceptance is the assent given to a proposal, and it has the effect of the converting the proposal into the promise. Proposal into the promise. Communication of acceptance. Acceptance by external manifestation or overt act. Overt act हो गया. Definition clearly required that the assent should be signified. Should be signified. Full stop. It may be signified or expressed by in act or omission by which the party accepting attended to communicate this assent or which has the effect of the communicating it. Section 3. A very common intention of an act amounting to acceptance is the fall of the hammer in the case of an auction sale. Full stop. The principle is that there could be some external manifestation of acceptance, a mere mental manifestation, a mere mental determination to accept uncompelling by an external indication will not be sufficient. Will not be sufficient. Will not be sufficient. Okay. Will not be sufficient. Okay. Will not be sufficient. Acceptance by conduct. Acceptance by conduct. Acceptance by conduct हो गया. Acceptance by conduct. Acceptance by conduct. Acceptance by conduct हो गया. Acceptance by conduct. Acceptance by conduct हो गया. Acceptance by conduct. Acceptance by conduct हो गया. Acceptance by conduct. Communication to be offered himself. Communication to be offered himself. Communication to be offered himself. Communication to be offered himself हो गया. Communication to be offered himself. Offer cannot impose burden of refusal. Burden of refusal. Burden of refusal हो गया. Burden of refusal. 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 Communication by acceptor himself. Communication by acceptor himself. When communication not necessary. 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 Mode of communication. Acceptance should be made in prescribed manner. Prescribed manner हो गया. Prescribed manner. Section 7. Acceptance must be absolute. Acceptance must be absolute in order to convert a proposal into a promise by acceptance must be one to be absolute and absolute or unqualified, to be expressed in some usual or reasonable manner unless the proposal prescribed by manner in which it is to be accepted. It is to be accepted. To be accepted. Effect of departure from prescribed manner. Departure from prescribed manner. Departure from prescribed manner where no manner prescribed. Reasonable and usual manner. Reasonable and usual manner. When contract conclude. Postal communication. Postal communication हो गया. Postal communication. Postal communication हो गया. Postal communication. Postal communication क्या हो गया. Postal communication हो गया. Postal communication हो गया. Postal communication. Section 4. Communication when complete. The communication of an acceptance Acceptance is complete as against the proposer when it is put in a course of the transmission to him so as to be out of the power of the acceptor as against the acceptor when it become to when it come to the knowledge of the proposer. Knowledge of the proposer हो गया, knowledge of the proposer हो गया, knowledge of the proposer. When knowledge of the proposer, difference between English and Indian law. Difference between English and Indian law. Difference between English and Indian law. When party in direct communication. When party become direct communication हो गया, party become direct communication. When party become direct communication, Supreme Court approval of inquiry case. Approval of inquiry case हो गया, approval of inquiry case हो गया, approval absolute over unqualified. Absolute, absolute, absolute and unqualified. Section 7 provide in order to convert a proposal into a promise, the acceptance must be absolute or unqualified. Absolute or unqualified. Counter proposal. Counter proposal, any departure, DEPARTURE, departure from the term of the offer or any qualification vindicate the acceptance unless it is agreed to by the person from who the offer come. In other word, the acceptance within a variation is no acceptance. It is simply a counter proposal which must be accepted by the original promiser become before a contract is made. Before a contract is made, the fact of the case in which this statement occur will as follow. Lapse of offer. Lapse of offer. Acceptance should be made before the offer elapse. Offer elapse. LAPSE elapse. Full stop in offer elapse. Elapse in the circumstance provided for a section 6. सेक्शन 6 कहता है रिवोकेशन हाउ मेड. REVOCATION revocation how made. A proposal is revoked. A proposal is revoked. 1. By the communication of notice of revocation by the proposer to the other party. 6 clause 2. By the LAPSE, lapse of the time prescribed in such proposal for its acceptance, or if no time is so prescribed by the LAPSE, lapse of a reasonable time without communication of the acceptance. 6 clause 3. By failure of the acceptor to fulfill a condition precedent to acceptance over. 6 section 6 clause 4. By the death or insanity, incentive of the proposer, if the fact of this death or insanity come to the knowledge of the acceptor before acceptance. Notice of revocation. REVOCAT revocation. Section 5 provide that a proposal may be revoked. Revoked at any time before the communication of it acceptance is complete as against the proposer, but not afterward. Communication when complete. Section 4 complete communication when complete. Section 5 revocation of proposal and acceptance. Revocation of proposal and acceptance हो गया. Revocation of proposal and acceptance. Consideration. Section 25 Section 25 of the Indian Contract Act open with the declaration that in agreement made without consideration is void. Section 25 of the Indian Contract Act open with the declaration that in agreement made without consideration is void. Without consideration is void. In agreement made without consideration is void. In England also, promise without consideration are not enforced. Without consideration are not enforced because they are gratuitously, gratuitously, full stop in Rain and versus Hughes, the Lord's definition and its requirement. Consideration has been defined. Consideration has been defined. Full stop. The simplest definition is by Blackstone. Full stop. Consideration is the pro recompense given by the party contracting to the other. In other word, it is a price of the promise. It is a price of the promise. In the word of the block, consideration is the price for which the promise of the other is brought. Other is brought हो गया, other is brought, other is brought हो गया, other is brought, other is brought हो गया, other is brought हो गया. The definition of the consideration in section 2 clause D required in the first place that act or abstains which is to be a consideration for the promise. Primitivity of contract and of consideration. Promise over any other person. The second notable feature of the definition of consideration in section 2 clause D. Section 2 clause D is that the act which is to constitute a consideration may be done by the promise. Promise or any other person. It mean therefore that as long as there is a consideration for a promise, it is in immaterial who has furnished it, and it may move from the promisee. Promisee or it if the promiser promiser has no objection from any other person. Full stop. This principle had it genius genius in the English law. Genius in the English common law, having been adopted by the court of King Bridge as early as 1677 in Don't Pulls. 1677 in Don't Pulls. Position of beneficiary who is not party. Who is not party. Not is in whom party. Not is whom. Primitive of consideration. Primitive. The former of these two proposition is not at all applicable in India. Applicable of in India हो गया. Applicable of in India. Primitive of contract हो गया. The rule of primitive of contract, which mean that a stranger to contract cannot sue has taken from root in the English common law. Root in the exemption to consideration. Contract under seal in English law. Contract under seal in English law. Exemption under section 25 Contract Act. 25 Contract Act. 25 section 25. In agreement made without consideration is void. In agreement made without consideration is void. In agreement made without consideration is void unless it is in returning and registered. It is in returning and registered. नंबर 2, or is a promise to compensate for something done. 3, or is a promise to pay a debt barred by limitation law. barred by limitation law या barred by limitation